RSL Nation, welcome to the Bros. And
Welcome back.
this is a special one because we have with us Nick, who is accompanying us from LAFC. Well, he's not from LAFC, but he's definitely a huge fan. Nick, welcome.
Man, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, man, I'm looking forward to the conversation. That's
For
for
the
sure.
for the next little bit, we're going to consider you a bro. Definitely not an RSL bro, but definitely an MLS bro because
Bruh, I know all about the brush.
that's awesome. Um, so as we all know, RSL is going out to Los Angeles to play LAFC in what sounds like it's going to be. Um, we're going to consider it because we're a small town team. We're going to consider it a intense game
It's a
because
it's our biggest clash of the season almost.
stop
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it's a pretty important one for you guys, I would say, right? I mean, Arango's there. You got Moose. You know, they have stuff to play for.
It's their
In a
homecoming.
way, like coming there to be like, hey, look what you let go. I mean, I see what you're saying for
Yeah.
sure, and then again, it's LA coming to RSL, so it has the big name on it. So yeah, dude, I mean, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
we'll treat this as a huge game. But before we get to that game, we want to get to know you a little bit more because well and everyone else wants to get to know you because I mean we really want to know how you became an LAFC fan because LAFC only came to the picture what 2018.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, so in 2014 they were announced, right? Like we knew that LAFC, like there was gonna be a club downtown. Um so my story is like I'm not a person who played soccer, football my whole life, right? I was born
Mhm.
in the South. I was an American football guy, baseball, just Southern sport dude. Of course, we played soccer, but it wasn't competitive. When I came to LA, when I was like 17, uh, you know, I noticed a lot of people were into soccer, and I noticed all the places would be packed watching soccer. And so I was like, man, I want to check it out. I want to start learning more about this game. So me and now my wife are huge fans, or we love Europe. We love Italy, we love France. So I started doing research on the league there, fell in love with Serie A, and became a Juve fan. But just loved that league in general. And look, when I say I picked, like I read the histories of these clubs, right? I did the same for the Premier League to pick who was going to be our team, where they were
Mhm.
located in case we ever visited, where we want to go. Like, I mean, this was like things I really thought about. And when I'm telling you, man, like, I'm in my 40s. This wasn't like how it is now, right? Like, we're searching the website to watch like clips and games of these teams, or just like YouTube really wasn't even like a big thing then. So it was like we're really searching in the 2000s trying to figure out how to watch any bit of soccer when it's not on at the pub or whatever, right? So that's how I got into it. Never was an MLS fan, couldn't get behind it. Wasn't a Carson fan, just never got behind that for me. And it was very and I'm just being honest, it felt old. It felt like something that people were coming there to retire. I respected when Beckham came. I thought that was a cool thing as someone who watched European football, but like just wasn't for me, right? However, as my fandom grew for this sport, I always wanted a club in the state, right?
Mhm.
Everybody does, one that is
Mhm.
closer for us to be able to go to, root, more of like a hometown thing. And when 2014, when I found out that they were going to put one downtown, it only made sense to like put my ear and listen. What type of club was this going to be? And when the story that John and them painted for us, it was like, oh well, shoes. This is what I hear from a Juve. This is the type of stuff that I hear from Chelsea, Dortmund. Like they're wanting to win, and so of course you start paying more attention. 2015, 2016, things are getting better and building up more. You're starting to see the what the crest is going to look, and you're getting excited. You buy the hat, you see other people walking around with it, and it starts to feel real. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It starts to feel real. And I know this is a long, drug out conversation of how I just fell into the game. But then what happened was, is like in 2018, when I had my daughter, dude, the very first year LAFC played, like 4 games in, I had my daughter was born at UCLA. I'm watching the game with my daughter almost just the day she was born. Like, I've watched every single game, never missed a game. Like, this club hits just different, and probably because it's more of a hometown team, as I was saying, as opposed to someone across the pond that's like you're only watching on TV and hoping to go there type
Yeah.
of thing.
Well,
Yeah.
Nick, I find that so cool. Not even know anything about football, coming from the South, and I applaud you for respect you for doing your homework because most soccer fans don't even do their homework. They just see a soccer club and they're like, I'm gonna join that team, whether it's Man U, Barca, Inter. So
Yeah.
I applaud you for that.
Yeah, man, it was wild reading histories and trying to understand and having to really do that research to find out like what are they talking about? Like what kind of cup is this? And then finding out there's all these different cups and trying to really
Yeah.
wrap your head around like how these things work. It's confusing to be honest at first. You know, it takes a while, but yeah, man, it's a great sport.
So I need to know why you never went for Carson City. And I guess just to explain for everyone else that doesn't know what they mean by Carson City, it's the Galaxy. But why did you never lean towards the Galaxy or even Chivas USA when they were around?
Well, because again, MLS didn't appeal to me, right? Like it just didn't. Like anytime I ever watched, I remember I tuned into something, and it just felt slow, felt old, felt just, and no energy in the stadium,
Yeah.
no, it just was dead, bro. It just was like, hey, this is just another thing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, nah. I like the energy, right?
Oh yeah.
Like I love energy, bro. I love seeing the flags wave. I love hearing the chants. Like it gets you going, right? Like that's part of this game. It's not just them out there because the people in the stands matter, right? Like hearing the chants and having that energy and seeing the flares, like all this matters. The tifos that
Yeah.
go up, and so it brings that energy and I just never felt it back then. And then the people I did know that was like Carson fans, I never really got along with. So I was just like, you're not my people. It's
Yeah.
just, you just know when they're just not your people, man.
Right. Right.
No, absolutely. I can definitely agree. The vibe and culture throughout MLS from the early 2000s when Beckham first joined Carson to what it is now, it has changed. So explain to us the 32-52, that culture and that supporter section there in LAFC.
Yeah, so that was a cool thing about it. Like even like so in 2017 is when Atlanta came in, and usually a lot of people from LAFC would be watching those games, and you would see on Twitter like some comments like, "Oh, I can't wait till LAFC and stuff." So you sort of felt a little bit of a group forming, right? Like you felt like it was going to be something. You aren't quite sure because you don't know what you're getting into yet. You have Bob Bradley and you have Carlos Vela and we have Diego Ross, but we really don't know anything else that we're getting yet. But we're watching, and to be fair, you started seeing the league change and Atlanta's doing some exciting things, and you're like, man, dude, this is going to be fun. I remember looking over at my wife. She's like, "You're really watching MLS right now?" I was like, well, LAFC, I just want to see what's going to happen, and I'm enjoying what I'm seeing,
Mhm.
because you have all the energy that I was speaking of a second ago. Now you're starting to see it, and to be fair, Atlanta, they started it. LAFC came, and you see now all these expansion teams that have came in. They're actually bringing it. You have Nashville now that's selling out places. They just posted that they sold out real quick. The energy that's coming around these clubs that are now the expansion is pretty incredible. So yeah, man, it was just as far as 32-52, the tailgates. Within our group, that's how we sort of started, right? Tell you how Voice of the Black and Gold started, and then I'll get to your point on 32-52. Is we started from when Bob was sort of going down in his little time in 2021, right? And Twitter Spaces just dropped like 4 days, and we had a bad game, and we were like, oh, we're just going to get on there and chat a little bit. It was me and two other guys. One guy got on there and started. I jumped in, and one other guy from Ireland, right? And so we're sitting there talking about LAFC. And then I say, hey, man, look, we should do this on a weekly basis. And the one guy was like, I don't know if I'm interested in it, because we didn't really know what it was up with Spaces. And so I'm like, no, we should. We're going to do this every week on a Monday. We're going to do it. We're going to talk about LAFC after the game. 3 people turned into 5 people, turned into, and just kept on growing, right? So then we made Voices of the Black and Gold. And one of my co-hosts, Eric, he always does tailgates. And so, talking about the 3252, as soon as we made this and they involved us, right? It was like a family. Oh, you guys love LAFC. You talk about LAFC on a weekly basis. Welcome to the family type of situation. And so it was really cool to feel welcome. It was cool that people understood what we were trying to do, even though the content was super negative, very negative about Bob out, about Bob in. It was arguments. It was a bunch of different opinions, but that's what made our show what it was, is because I told everybody I want to hear your opinion, and there's no judgment. We want to know what you feel about this club as a fan. And so it just brought people in, and at first it was a little blowback from some of the people, like, yo, why are y'all so negative? And then it became, well, y'all just have heart for the club. And now for the podcast is just, it's something different as what it was for Spaces, but that's how it all started. And that's what type of, 3252 has for LAFC, is just the shoulder to shoulder, the blah, blah, blah. All that is actually true. That's how we try to live every game that we go to with one another.
Not gonna lie, you guys are like, I'll say it from our point of view, you guys are a really good example of how to be fans and how to be uh, fans in the good times and the bad times, because 3252 is always full, it seems like, every game. And I know you're not living in LA currently, but when you were there, it just seemed like it was full all the time, whereas, for instance, at Real Salt Lake, we struggle to fill up our supporter section, and all you hear is a drum, sometimes beating during the game,
Maybe some trumpets.
maybe some trumpets. But do you think the way that the fans have embraced LAFC is because of the amount of people in LA? Because if comparing populations, Utah is the whole state of Utah is the same population as LA metropolitan. And so, um, do you think it's maybe the density of the amount of people there in the city, and that's why you guys have a lot of people, or is it there's that many soccer fans within that city?
There's that many soccer fans within the city, and I'm not talking about like your, oh, I want to just learn fans. Like, we're talking about, I see you wearing the kit. We're talking about real hardcore fans of Italy or Mexico, or like, and also their childhood clubs, which might be Tigres, or for me, and from being in my 20s, being a Juve fan. My buddy is a Palmeiras fan. One was a tricolor fan. Like, talking about from the time that they were born, right? So then they come to LA and they're looking for that, and this is what they have. So we're talking about, ones that understand that type of culture, and they brought it to the 3252. So that's what you have surrounding that, right? And so I think that's what makes it different. Like, there's no phones. You're not supposed to be on your phone when you're in the 3252. Now, granted, dude, I've never been in the 3252 because I have a kid and a daughter, and I sit over on the side whenever I went. But like, I watch every single game. I've never missed one game, and I tell you, the 3252 stays loud. They stay packed. I have plenty of friends. The Tunnel Snakes, my boy Pookie over there. He travels to all of them. You have just amounts of people that put their hard-earned money to make sure that they travel to so many games a year also. And so it's not just the home games, it's also on the away games. And, yeah, we show up good in the California ones at, San Jose, and we're shaking the Raptors, and we're blacking out Carson. But we're talking about to far ones also. Where they went to Minnesota and did really good or something like that. They also traveled to NYC with I think it was 200 people,
Wow.
250 people. I mean, for a traveling group, that's really awesome, and it's the dedication because it's close, right?
Yeah.
They're not in Argentina, they're not close to, Brazil, and it's like, no, it's here, and we're gonna make that flight, and we're gonna go, and we're gonna do that, and we're gonna show how our passion is, and I think that's what is cool about LAFC, man.
Yeah, that's something that I've always loved about the 32-52. You talked about traveling. I remember watching them in the Champions League. I can't remember where they were.
Oh,
Where they
yeah.
was it Honduras?
Yep.
Guatemala? Yeah, when they
Yep.
traveled down there, huge amount of fans, and that was amazing.
600, I think it was 600 fans it was.
Yeah, so impressive, so loud. Alan and I were talking prior to hopping on here. 32-52 is probably one of my favorite supporter section in all the MLS. Like, yes, you have the Timbers Army. Yes, you have Cincinnati. You have Nashville. But there's just something about the 32-50 that they're so passionate. Just the love of soccer that they show every single game, win or lose.
Yep.
Doesn't matter the results.
Yeah, and the thing is, you see these clubs have took a, a blueprint of what LAFC and the 32-52 has done, and some people are like, "Oh, that's messed up." No, it isn't, man. It's how we build this. It's how we create a better culture around MLS in general, right? Like I want LAFC to win it all, but I'm not mad about Miami doing what they're doing right now. This is great for MLS. I'm not a person that thinks that it's wrong, because all it does is opens up this talk that we have to have for this next season. And it's going to be a great talk, and one that needs to be had, and it's going to benefit all of us. And the owners that don't want to spend, they're going to have to get pushed out a little bit. That does suck for those clubs, and I understand that. However, if we want this thing to grow and to be a top five, 4, 5, 6 club, bro, league, we got to make these moves, and now is the time. So, yeah, I'm glad people take the blueprint of what 32-52 and LAFC does, but um, I'm ready for it all. I'm ready for the clubs to expand like that and just keep on getting bigger and more support. It's great, man. Look, last thing I'll say is about this is that, I'm from Tennessee. I never thought Nashville would be a place that has a club like they have. And seeing what they've done is absolutely amazing. And I'll give them their props on that, but, you know, you, you just never really thought that Nashville and St. Louis and these places are going to be selling out like 20,000 people in a stadium for soccer, bro. It's
No.
the facts, but it's happening, and it's a cool, beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have a real quick question. Speaking of, since you're from Nashville, technically,
No, I'm
um,
from Memphis, but Tennessee.
sorry, that's what I meant. You're from Tennessee. Do you have a soft spot for Nashville, just a little bit, or are you
No,
just
man.
you're hardcore black and gold?
Yeah, I'm hardcore black and gold, and it's funny because today I got outed on Twitter because I was one that was like, "No, don't send it to Nashville. Send it to." So I think I said I think I said somewhere like St. Louis or South Carolina, and Dan from Nashville, one of the supporters over there, he was like, "Oh, Nick, not you." This was back in 2020 or something. I wrote this comment before they got their club because Memphis has 901 FC as a USL team, and I watched them for a USL team, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, man, no, like, make it in Memphis. But it was just some banter,
Yeah.
but in all fun, like Memphis and Nashville had that LA Carson feel type thing.
Oh
For
yeah.
But
sure.
in truth of the matter for MLS, Nashville's been great, man, and they've done great things as Charlotte and St. Louis are
Right.
doing.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's a really cool thing to see those southern states down there, just getting people in the stadiums like that. I'm all for it. But no, man, no love for Nashville whatsoever.
That's awesome.
To be fair, on the 901 FC, it's called Trashville, so I have to put that out there. I know he's probably going to clip that, but it's what it's called, man.
Oh, that's funny. But I did have another question. Speaking of culture, I mean, now you have fan culture, but club culture. You talked about how clubs basically need to start spending more in order to grow, in order to grow the interest. Um,
Unfortunately.
be because it seems like LAFC has been willing to put down the money for good players. What has it been like to reap the rewards or have so much success as part of LAFC? I mean, you guys have been part of a lot of later tournaments, so you've been part of semifinals, finals, been in heated competition a lot, not compared to Real Salt Lake with their recent past. We haven't been part of much. So what does that do? First as a fan base, but how does it make you feel to be part of a club that's willing to spend that much and having so much success in just a short history?
So, like earlier I said the things that they said, right? So at the beginning they said, hey, we want to be a big club mentality type thing. And that's the type of thing that you expect when you hear that. It's for them to go and spend, right? Like, so uh it's gonna sound very like we're
Just say
brats,
it.
but
Just
like
say it.
that's sort of what you expect if they're gonna say it. Like,
Yeah.
keep your word, right? And it started to feel like it wasn't with Bob, right? And that's why all the Bob out stuff started. And then you seen what they did with Giorgio and Gareth, and that was great. So that was our little run, like what's happening with Miami now. Um, but I mean, look, man, that's sort of the argument right now for LAFC fans. Okay, so we've been in a lot of finals, as you said. We didn't win them. We only won one, and look, I'm being real right now. Like, I'm not supposed to be saying this, but I'm keeping it honest. Like, we only won one.
Mm,
We were in a couple of that we should have, like CCL. We were tired. We had too many games. Okay, well, what happened there? Well, excuse. Okay, well, we lost that one. Open Cup, we gave it away because we wanted to be good for CCL. So now that's two. It's like the one last night, we showed great heart. The heart was there. No one can question how much passion the guys had on the pitch for that game, right?
right.
Um, the PKs, nah, not so
Yeah.
much, right? Lackluster for Tillman and Hollingshead.
Hmm.
Again, super critical. I understand. I get it. They're my team, but this is the way we roll at the voice of the black and gold. Like, we got to be honest, right? And
And
you
even the
can't
game,
do that if you're hungry.
even the game against Miami in League's Cup. I mean, I would have expected more out of you guys from that game, but
Yeah.
it ended up empty.
Yeah, I mean, it's disappointing when basically four chances at some type of hardware and you walk away with none, and now we're not even in first place in the West. So this conversation just a second ago started about the money and spending for the people, but yeah, we spent last year, and then you look at it and you're like, well, who did they spend this year? And we got Mario, who hasn't been on the thing for the last two the roster for the last two games. Kike Oliveira, he's showing to be really well. This feels like we need to have a Uruguayan on the pitch at some point for us.
Hmm.
If I like him, I know people were sort of bitching a little bit for last night's game. I like what I see from the kid because he's pushing forward. He looks like he has ideas. I'd rather that than someone standing around.
Hmm.
But going back to the chances miss is like if you can't walk up to a penalty and be ready to win a cup, there's some questions to be had for what we are spending, and that's just the truth, right? Tillman just came in and he's missing a big PK like that, and we're taking off Oliveira and Vela at the 70th minute because they're spent. So, hey, man, yeah, that's that's how I feel, and that's as honest as I can be.
That's rough.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely
People
has
will
been.
kill me for being this honest, but it's
No,
We need it. We need it.
it's a good vent out session. It definitely has been a rough stretch for both sides. RSL finally gets a win in our last game, beating Vancouver, and then you guys only one win in the past what five games, is it?
okay. I'm not going to take a beating from you guys. That's what I'm not going
we need to make ourselves feel better
to.
at this point. I mean, I mean, we're starting to think. We took a little poll at the on Twitter, and we're thinking. I'm like, all right, look, you guys have won 2 games, lost 4, tied 2 in the past 8 games.
Yeah, yeah,
And in the past 7 games for us, we've won 2 games as well, but we've
yeah.
lost 5. So we're
Yeah.
thinking, I'm throwing this out there. Is there any hope for RSL?
So listen, I'll be honest on our prediction. I gave a 3-0 win against you guys. I got a 3-0 win, and I'll tell you why. For the last 3 games that we played you, it was a 2-0, a 3-0, and a 4-0.
Yeah.
This was before what happened last night. So it's going to go one or two ways. LAFC is going to come out of there like they did in CCL and have a little bit of a hangover, and they're not going to be themselves. And it's going to be a game that could be won by RSL, or it's going to be, no, we're going to go in here, we're going to shove it down their throats, and we could see another 3-0, 4-0 where it's like everybody's pissed off, and you have the top tier of LAFC. If that happens, I mean, no disrespect, I'm not being it, but it's a hard team to win against, right? If Vela and Bawanga show up and then Kike is doing his thing, it's a hard team to win.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're moping around, anything
Well,
can happen.
Yeah, because LAFC has a deep bench. Because if Bawanga, Vela, Tillman, Acosta, if they're not playing, they have players that can come off the bench who can fill in for those roles.
I mean, yeah, you would think so, you know. I mean, we did get rid of our man, the GOAT Opoku, you know, which was
That's
a
true.
hard one. He's not there anymore, and that was one that was a dangerous man, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then you guys got 2 of our guys,
That's
which
true.
is a huge conversation around LAFC on Orongo, as you know. I mean, look, Moose was a good guy for LAFC. You know, he was on the Voices of the Black and Gold podcast. We appreciated him coming through there. Great guy, hard worker. But it was his time, right? It was right place for him to go for RSL, where he could, you know, sort of be an everyday player. But when it came to Orongo, people feel like things didn't go to plan, and it wasn't a mutual type of situation. So people miss Chicho a lot around LAFC. So it's, some people are like, oh, it is this part of the business. Others like, no, we should have tried to keep him. You know what I mean? So
Do you think it was maybe chemistry based or kind of more just money wise?
you know, that's a good question, and that's the question that goes around, right?
Yeah.
And I would ask you guys the same thing, because I just seen that y'all have someone leaving your locker room and saying things, and it feels like now that the certain someone is there, maybe the chemistry within the locker room has fell off. And I'm not here to take over your show and ask you guys questions, but you know, that is, it's sort of interesting, right? Like, he
Right.
gets there, and then
I
the
mean,
other guy's like, "What family plays?" I was like, "Wow."
I mean, the Sava situation. That's what you're talking about. The Savarino situation. I mean, we're coming off of a bad streak with RSL.
Yeah.
Savarino's supposed to be our 10. He's supposed to be the guy that we're looking to for our playmaking. And everyone can observe that he hasn't been playing the best. So when Dallas, or sorry, when the Vancouver game comes around, and he's not even on the list to be on the bench, questions being asked, team admins get on Twitter and say it's a personal reason, and he's like, "What do you mean a personal reason?" Um, that's when we start seeing some smoke. Whether there's fire or not, no one's willing to say it, because internal club news stays internal, right?
Yeah, for
And
sure.
while we're dealing with that, we're dealing with Moose, who misses 5 games in a row, doesn't practice. Um, for us, we're going off, we're going like totally offended mode. We're like, how can a guy do this to us when he's one of our
Our
go-to guys,
second leading goal scorer on the team.
No, no.
and his situation is totally understandable. I mean, we're paying him
92,000.
yeah, somewhere in the mid 90s, and the guy's wanting more money.
Yeah.
Does he deserve more money? Sure, but I mean,
He's wanting the same thing that Rubio Rubin got the previous season 6 figures because Rubin had a breakout season, and he thinks if I do this, then I deserve 6 figures as well.
And to be fair, does he there? I mean, he's scoring for you guys, your second highest scorer. See, and that's the type of situation that starts happening. Also with Chicho, right? It's like,
Mhm.
hey, I'm doing this and I want this, but you have these people coming in, but we can't give you that. All that should change this summer, guy, or this window. I'm hoping after the
Yeah.
season, I'm hoping a lot of this stuff changes, and then that's what we were talking about earlier, right? Like, think about that. It'd be cool if that changes, and owners don't have to worry about, oh shoot, if I do give him that, I can't go off and get whoever else is down the road that they were wanting to get really bad, right? So
Right.
Yeah.
Um, with you guys on this so run, you guys have been playing. Let's see, starting. Who'd you guys play before St. Louis? I can't remember.
Carson, no.
Oh yeah, Carson. So
It
starting
was
with the
Carson.
Carson
Yeah.
game, you guys
Yeah,
have been playing a Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday,
yeah.
Wednesday, Sunday,
Which
Wednesday,
is
Saturday.
which
That's
has
that.
mostly been for the whole season, yeah.
A lot of teams have been hit with that. We got hit with that kind of streak back in May, June, where
Yeah.
we were
Yeah,
just
but,
going
but
back
what
and
I'm
forth.
saying is you got to remember we did it at the beginning of the season,
Hmm.
right? So we did it at the beginning, in the middle, and then at the end. So we've
Yeah.
only had two breaks where it was like none. It was only on the weekends.
This
Um,
this whole League's Cup messed with everybody's schedule.
yeah, man, it was pretty wild. And then CCL, Leagues Cup, and so LAFC sort of got, but it is what it is. I mean, Miami's just went through a little thing like that too. You guys have y'all's thing, so you
Right.
can't bitch and complain about it. It's everybody, and it's a blessing to have those extra games and a curse all together.
So
Yeah.
with that, how do you think that's going to affect you guys this weekend? This is the fifth game in this huge streak.
Yeah,
What do
well,
you
like
what what are you looking at this weekend?
as I said, I think that for LAFC, it's going to be the hangover or not. It's going to be one of those types of situations. We're going to be at home, right? So um, it's going to be blacked out. 32-52 is going to be loud, and they're
Hmm.
going to be pushing hard because we just lost a game at home, and it feels unacceptable. So now we need redemption. So it's going to be loud,
Oh yeah.
hostile, ready, And so when they walk on that pitch, we'll feel, we'll see how they're walking around and looking. If they're out there joking around, whatever, okay. But if they have them faces on and Bella and and then we're looking how they do and it's that serious, it might be ready. It might be some real gaming going on there. And that's what I'm hoping to see. I'm hoping to watch them come out, firing down the pitch, pressing hard, pushing fast. Not sitting back looking for that counter stuff that's been happening lately in these last 5 games. We don't want any of that. We want to do old school LAFC football, which is we press the shit out of you until you just are tired. That's one thing that Moose used to do great for us. You guys know the dude is a bulldog. He will press, 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 press,
Hmm.
and then he has that extra energy, right? So we want to run them down, or we want to run. We want to try to run you guys down, and that's what I would like for us to see. Now, what
Yeah.
has the LAFC been doing? They've been sitting back waiting for the counter attack and then hitting you on that. Hopefully, there's going to be a little bit of game change tactical in that.
Yeah, I was just about to hit on that. So we see from yesterday's game against Tigres, Kellen Acosta, Sanchez, even Bawanga, they went the full 90. Do you see a lot of changes in that, or do you see kind of half and half, kind of half A team, half B team?
um, no, 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 no. We should see 18. We should see full for sure. 18. We're chasing number one right now,
Hmm.
um, which is feels out of the reach. But we at least want to be in the set. We want to stay where we don't want to drop. Like that's just the bottom line. We got to win. We want to win these games. Um, so I expect at home we're gonna run a full team. No questions. Even though it was just then, it has to happen that way, bro. Um,
So you don't see any kind of changes like take out Sanchez and put in a Tillman, or you don't
uh,
see any kind of
yeah.
changes.
No, a lot of people are gonna want me to say you're gonna put Mario back in. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna put Mario in. I'm
I
gonna
would keep
keep.
Kike in there.
I'm going to
I mean,
keep TK up front, even though, that ain't what, we brought a 9 because we've been saying we needed a 9 for the last 5 years. We got him. Now we're like, no, we don't want him. We want the wing. So, it is what it is on that. But midfield, I'm going to put Bogusz there. I'll have Ilie there, and then I'll have Tillman in there. And then on the back line, it would be Palacios won't be there.
why not?
No, he got the red card in
You got
the
a red.
He got in the Tigres game. So
Oh, that's right. Okay, so yeah, Palacios, Collini's gonna have to go. You might see Murillo in there for long, maybe. Actually, I expect it's gonna be long, and then Murillo will come in during the 60th minute or something because he's starting to work his way back into it, and then Hollingshead. So yeah, that's how I'm feeling at the lineup. A look.
so in this game last night, we saw both keepers, Crepu and then McCarthy. Do you have a preference of one or the other?
He's going to be Crepeau. It'll be
Crepeau.
Crepeau. Yeah, I mean, look, he did a huge sacrifice breaking his leg in the championship for us, for helping us win that title, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got it. He's been training hard, back, healthy. John did a great job. He's a starter for any club in MLS, no doubt. We're lucky that we had him. But now that the switch has happened again, it's definitely Max's job again. We don't want the type of situation that we were in 2021, where we had Bob that was switching out 2 to 3 goalies every other game, and we just looked like we were lost, and they were like fighting for their job, scared to make a mistake, constantly making mistakes because they were scared to make the mistake. We don't want that, so I assume that everybody believes that it's going to be Max's job to lose again, unless
No,
he just on a bad run.
we've definitely seen that a few times throughout the season for RSL, where we've switched from Gavin Beavers to McMath and going back and forth. So I understand having a young goalkeeper, but to stick with the age and maturity.
Yeah, and to be fair, we're lucky they're both pretty mature, right? Like I say, John, like he was on our show, dude, and we chatted with him, and he talks about like no one was really there, and it was only LA, and I'm like, that's crazy after what he did for us. If that was to happen, many clubs would run after John now because of how great his body of work has been with LAFC with his time here. Hope that don't happen, but I could understand why teams would be calling.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a two-part question, one for Marcos and one for you, Nick. Marcos, who do you see for our RSL then against LAFC? We're coming off a win. Do you see the same lineup, or what do you see? And then Nick, who who worries you most player-wise from RSL? So I'll give you some time to think about that. Marcos, give me what you think our lineup is going to be.
Lineup wise, McMath, and then back line. I don't see Oviedo starting this one because this will be, if he does start, that'll be 4 matches in a row. So no Oviedo. I see Brody back over there on that left back role, with Vera and Justin Glad. In that right back, I see Anelli just because Anelli did so well against Vancouver. And then in our midfield, give me the likes of Luna and Gomez because they have the speed, they have the tenacity that they paired well together. And then with Ojeda and Palacio, and then Chicho and Moose up top.
All right. What do you got,
Yeah.
Nick?
I mean, Arango, right? We're going to go with Arango. It didn't go well for him last time he came to the bank with you guys. So, he wants to make a little bit of steam. Say, hey, look, bro, yeah, I was trying to get acclimated with the club, but here I am, and now I have my place here, and this is what I do. And he's going to be trying to bury it in the back of the net, and so yeah, he's going to be the most worried. You don't want to see him just come and just especially in front of the 32-52.
Right. My thought has always been, if I were an LAFC fan, I would. Do you think Chiellini is a liability for you guys because of his age, maybe his slowness, his reaction? I mean, I can see it in your eyes that I might be on the right track.
Nah, bro.
I was like,
No,
he's a Juve fan. You can't be messing with that.
I mean, I am
What
such.
do you
I am playing
mean?
with fire.
He's part of the reason I watch this game, bro. No
Yeah,
shit. I'm
because
not joking. I'm
I
sorry. No,
I
no,
feel
no.
like.
Real talk, real talk. Like he's a legend,
Mhm.
and you're probably referring to the double kick that he did the other, yesterday, which, you've seen that play a lot in
Mhm.
in the Serie A and even the Ligue 1, like where it's like they're setting the ball to get ready and it's rolling a little bit and then they go and kick it. This ref happened to call it and takes back a goal, which is a massive blow, and people are blowing it up. But
Yeah.
I've seen that
Yeah.
play 100,000 times. Collini is a absolute legend and one of a kind. To be fair with you, um, watching watching soccer when I first started watching it, learning how defensive was. I just remember watching how hard hitting he was and how a no bars guy he was. Right, like he's kicking the ball. He's doing everything that he can to make sure that they're not getting in goal. And I just remember being like fascinated with that, being like, "Yo, dude, this dude is amazing."
Yeah.
Like, and then when you do the research, you find out like everybody thinks he's amazing. And then you find like people try to emulate him and they try to teach like this is, you don't see it anymore, right? Like people are soft and it isn't played the same with the same grit and that old school where they sacrifice every bit of their body that they can, bro. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know y'all think I'm saying this because like with
No.
LAFC, but he's 38 years old and throws his body out there like he does, bro. Like I'm in my 40s, my dude. I could
He's
never. I
definitely
was great.
he's been a workhorse
Yeah,
for
he's been
LAFC
a
on the defense. And
and he's the general. You know, um, his passes are a dime, so a liability. What? Yeah, he's a step slower, but his IQ of football of soccer is higher than anyone else on the pitch, bro. Higher than even our managers, and I'm keeping it 100 with you,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? Like this dude knows something about every single league, almost every single footballer, and if he doesn't, and he will next time you have that conversation. It's something to be admired, man, and it's you don't have many of it left in the game. There's only a couple that are that old school, real old. Just
Yeah.
it was a different breed, man. I don't know how to explain it to you guys, but
Well, I remember
I'm thankful
watching.
that he's there with us at LAFC, and it was a blessing for me as a Juve fan to have him there. Um, sorry,
No,
yeah,
I remember watching Chiellini with Juve, um, and I loved watching him and Bonucci, and both of
another,
them. Those
another,
two, I swear, they were like the Great Wall of China. They
another.
you've got went up against them, and you knew you were either going to get hurt,
Yeah,
you were going to get blocked out, you're just going to get denied.
nothing's getting past
denied,
them.
denied. And if they were going to pick up that red for you, they were going to sacrifice and throw themselves in and take whatever lump it was going to be, and that's okay because you did not score, and F you because you did. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
it's a different breed, bro.
Oh,
It's just I love it.
yeah. This league needs more of that. We don't have
we're
enough of that.
going we're gonna get it. It's
Yeah.
gonna happen, fellas. I'm telling you,
Because
some big stuff is.
the
It's gonna.
closest thing RSL has to that is Brian Vera, and he has a little bit of a junkyard grit and dog in him
Now,
occasionally.
I'll compare Vera to Palacios. I mean, I think I think I heard you guys talk about, was it him that always has yellow card accumulation?
Every time. I love this kid. He's fiery. He's small, but he don't care, bro. Like,
Hmm.
um, he is one of the most passionate people for the badge. He will tell a ref when they are bad. He does not care. He will also sacrifice. Listen, I will tell you this. That is one thing about LAFC. Murillo is the same thing, right? Like we have guys that will dog you, no question. And that's something that draws me to this club because I like that, obviously, right? So it makes me happy to see them out there playing hard like that, and that's what you want from your team. That's what you want from your defender, and it's okay. People are like, oh, he's out all the time. It's okay. It's
Yeah,
okay.
it's that no quit mentality, and they
Yeah,
just grind it out, just push
that's
push
right.
through it. So
Yes, yes. No one's gonna beat him. I don't care if I'm small. You aren't gonna beat me, and that's what you want. That's what you want. Yeah.
That's legit. That's legit. Um, we could be talking all day about these two teams just because I can say from our side because we've only beat you guys twice, once in the playoffs and once in a regular season.
Uh,
In
the
your
the
playoffs hurt. The
the only
playoffs hurt,
game
though.
the only game that comes to mind from us beating LAFC was Karate Krylock.
Yeah. The playoffs hurt. That was one that I remember when we played y'all after that, it was like revenge. We wanted the revenge.
And then
Uh,
we get last year with Harry Kane.
yeah. I mean, it's LA has had RSL's number ever since the playoff thing really. But
I guess
RSL's turning things around, and Chicho's gonna do great things with you guys, bro. So there's no doubt about it. And to be on here with you guys, and then we also have talked with the Rambling the other podcast from RSL, and a bunch of great fans and great people that are building a cool culture there, dude. And my co-hosts, both of them went there. Celso and Eric went to RSL and enjoyed a match there, and they have nothing but great things to say about what was going on there, dude. So it's cool to see, you know.
Yeah, the soccer culture, it's still growing because obviously we've been around since 2005, but it's still growing. We can't fill the stadium like we'd want to.
Yeah,
Supporter section still very small, but I hope that it's gonna get there eventually.
yeah, it will, man. It will. Hey, look, y'all spent the biggest y'all spent in a long time,
It's true.
right? So
It's true.
that
16
that
million
is,
isn't.
16 million.
but it's more than it was,
Right.
right? So we got to look at the stepping stones, right?
Yep.
So it was never before, and everybody was like, "Yo, RSL has to do something or get out." Like this is getting. Now it's okay. Well, they're spinning, so they're trying, they're fighting for something,
Yeah.
and so that's the type of growth that we want to see from these owners that have been ones that didn't spin or don't spin. We need them to loosen up and start to help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. With that, um, I know Marcos knows what time it is. Nick, you're gonna get to know what time it is. Marcos, what time is it?
It is prediction time, Nick.
Excellent.
Ah,
Let's get into this. All right.
Should,
So,
should, who wants to go first?
let's let Nick go first. We're
Yeah,
gonna give
guess
give
first.
give
Guess
give
first.
it give us what you think is gonna happen in the game, and give us your result.
um, I mean, I've sort of already said it, right? I said a 3-0. I said it on my show, so I'm gonna have to stay to my guns, right? Keep it real, boys, or we keep it real. I think it's gonna be a 3-0, just especially now because we did just get our teeth knocked in. I mean, during penalty kicks, but we lost at home on a cup, so we have something to prove, and we have something that we can't let the 3250 down. We can't let the fans down. We have to show that that our house is our fortress, and so there are no excuses, no matter who's there, Chicho or not. So we have to have a clean sheet, and it has to be a 3-0
All
for
right.
LAFC to walk away with some type of
Hmm,
feeling like they got some balls.
Sounds
okay.
it sounds good. Marcos, what do you got?
So of course I want to see RSL win these tough games on the road, but we've always struggled against LAFC. We've only won twice ever. They're just coming off of a loss on Wednesday, so I'm hoping that kind of has some heavy legs, but I don't think so. I'm giving it a 2-0 win for LAFC.
Ooh. All right. Well, Nick, you don't know this, but I'm wearing my lucky jersey that I've worn before other victories.
Okay.
So, we're not gonna get 3 points, but we're gonna go with a 1-1 draw just because of my lucky jersey. That's it.
Oh,
That's it.
1-1 draw, huh?
We're
Who's
I
putting it in?
I
Narango?
I
Uh,
I like the optimism though.
I mean, Arango maybe. At this point, I just need someone to stick it in the back of the net. So, we're gonna stick with just anyone, but we're gonna get a tie out of this. Well, we have to get a tie out of this.
Yeah. No, we need
Awesome.
3, so that is unacceptable for me.
Nick, can you give us your tags for your podcast and your personal if you really want to share that?
Yeah, man. I am underscore Nick Chastain underscore for Twitter, and then at Voices of the Black and Gold. Come and check us out, man. We also talk to a lot of people from around the league. And try to just get the information out there. One of my guys, he's a number guy. The other one is knows about all the contracts, and so we just try to shoot it straight with you about what's going on around the league and what's going on with LAFC. So. Yeah, that's what we got.
Excellent. Marcos, give us ours.
Awesome. If you guys are not already, Twitter, Instagram, all at the RSL Bros, and we're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you want to listen to us on the go while you're running errands.
Perfect. Nick, it's been a pleasure being with you. Great conversation.
Thank you so much, Nick.
We'll definitely have to do this next season.
Yeah, 100. Y'all going to have to come on ours too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Good luck in playoffs and rest of the season for you guys.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate
Okay.
that.
Take care. See you guys. Ciao.
Ciao.